Deep waters cannot quench love, nor rivers sweep it away. Deep waters cannot quench love, nor rivers sweep it away. So, your Grandma Kitty loved you so much and continues to love you, and I know you love her very much too. So the best thing you can do for her, children and really everybody, is to pray for the happy repose of her immortal soul. And there's this thin veil between us and the eternity. The angels and saints are surrounding us even now. So you can talk to her, pray for her, offer masses for her. She will benefit from your prayers. Not just now, but a year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now. Just never forget her and never stop praying for her. Turn her rest grant into Kitty Smith, O Lord. May perpetual light shine upon her. May she rest in peace. Amen.
I'm Mary Jividen, and I met Kitty and Lauren through Fran and came to know how much they love each other and what amazing friends they could be. Kitty was just so much fun to be around, and she had a wonderful wit, and of course Fran spoke to her love of singing, but I just wanted to state that I'm so grateful for having known Kitty and to know Lauren and all of the beautiful family members that I have met, and especially to point out that one of the best things that I loved about Kitty was how she looked at her husband Lauren. It was always filled with love, and it was an inspiration. And God bless all the family, and Kitty, may you rest in peace.
I'd like to offer my prayers for Kitty and the Smith family, for Lauren Sr., Lauren Jr., Holly, and all their children. I have wonderful memories of Kitty as such a sweet woman who had quiet dignity, and even in the course of all of her sufferings, that sweetness and that dignity was always there. She was also a wonderful mother. You could see how she loved Lauren. You could see how she loved her grandchildren. She was really a wonderful woman whom we'll miss terribly. May God be with her.
So Kitty worked, I'm Vincent Terreri. I used to be headmaster of Annunciation Academy in Vienna, Virginia. And Kitty worked for me in, I think, 95, 96 school year. And she had such vivacious attitude and just a great spirit, and was totally just comfortable in her own skin. And I thought, she'll make a great kindergarten teacher. Fran Griffin over here is the one who introduced me to her. But anyway, she had a lot of, one funny story about her is that early on she had a lot of little struggles with some of the kids that were, maybe you might want to classify them as discipline challenged. And she was in my office one time, and I was trying to give her new tools of how to keep these. There were two twins in particular that would always cause trouble in the classroom. And I was just trying to give her some tools, and she looked at me and she sighed and she wiggled her shoulders and she said, "Well, you know, Vincent, I always did love the naughty ones." And, and I remember putting my hands in my face like that and just thinking, wow, yeah, there's just so much going on here. But she just had such a great love for life and such a vivacious spirit, and just, I have only fond memories of her, despite the fact that she did love the naughty ones. And I think that's a good thing in the end. All right, God bless you, Kitty. God bless the family, and may she rest in peace, and may all of you be blessed and consoled in this time of struggle. Take care.
My only wish today is that my late wife, Colleen, could be here to mourn Kitty. How I remember the times that Colleen and I would go out with Lauren and Kitty, from everything to dinner to seeing Richard Chamberlain in the revival of My Fair Lady. No matter what we did, Colleen would talk about something Kitty said, or about her laughter, or just about how the evening was made so much better because we were with Kitty Smith. I enjoyed Kitty anytime. I recall going to Mass with her and getting a running commentary on Father Vince Rigdon, whom she loved, and on the Mass itself. Kitty always had a comment about something, and it was always memorable and uplifting. I didn't know her for the better part of my life, but I can say today that knowing Kitty Smith was the better part of my life. And now she's with her son Adam and my wife Colleen in what is surely a better place. And I bet they're all smiling.
Hi, I'm Elaine Schadler, an old friend of Kitty's, maybe 45 years, maybe a year or two beyond that, I don't know. Kitty and I often went off on adventures together many years ago, and we would visit probably every TJ Maxx, every Marshall's in the area, maybe once every couple of weeks, just to see if there was anything interesting we could find for the children, and go to lunch afterwards. As I recall, she liked bloomin' onions very much, and we found those at some restaurant. And this was a very lovely send-off for Kitty, and I think she would have enjoyed it immensely. So I'm so pleased to have been a part of this and to have known the family for so many years. It's really a wonderful, wonderful family. I think that's all we'll say for right now. Talk to you another time. Bye.
My name is Joe Morris. I'm a lawyer in Chicago, Illinois, and I've known Lauren and Kitty Smith for half a century. The salient fact that I know about Kitty is that she's the best thing that ever happened to Lauren. I knew Lauren at the bar in Chicago and in politics there, and he had some pretty rough edges and needed some softening and some sophistication, and that is precisely what the elegant and effervescent and loving Kitty Yore Smith did for Lauren. She improved our country, if by no other reason than by making Lauren the man he is today. Kitty was a gem. She was a friend for a lifetime, and it's of course a sad day for all of us that we're saying farewell to Kitty, but it's a great day to say thanks to God, thanks for Kitty, that Kitty was such an important part of our lives. Thank you.
Well, what a pleasure to be able to speak about Kitty. Kitty was someone that just, when I think of her, miss her, but smiles, and her ability to tell stories and bring me into wherever we were talking about. And I just, one of my fondest memories is visiting her at the hospital, and I brought in all these hydrangea, and we had a little garden going, and she just started sharing with me story upon story and just layers, and I went there to make her day and walked away just so blessed and filled with laughter and love. And we went through the whole span, and she was receiving phone calls at the time, and it was a glorious, very glorious time, and I'm just grateful for the blessing that she was in my life, and just a very spirited lady, fighting a lot of ailments, but always taking things to a higher level. And I felt like angels surrounded her. So very grateful for her.
We're here to pray for and to honor and to celebrate Kitty Smith. I met her back in 1970 about. We were all in YAF, and we went to the YAF convention in St. Louis. And I remember meeting Lauren and meeting her, and that was a very, very wonderful time. Kitty always was a very uplifting lady. She was very inspiring and very funny, all of those things. She was a Third Order Dominican. She and Fran were members of the Dominican Order, the Third Order, and certainly I know that was a great deal of her spirituality and a great deal of her happiness. So we all feel a sense of loss, certainly, but of course we pray that God will take her to Himself in heaven, and that she may eternal rest grant unto her, O Lord, and let her perpetual light shine upon her. May her soul and the souls of all the faithful departed through the mercy of God rest in peace. Amen.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Felicia Rhodes, and my older brother Mark Rhodes have been friends with Kitty and Lauren for about 50 years, since all the early politicking days. I had moved here to Falls Church, Virginia, about 2006, and the very first party I went to, Kitty and Lauren had, and I went to some of the Kitty birthday parties. one of the nice things I had done, I'm an actress, and I'd done a movie a couple years ago, and Kitty lent me all these beautiful dresses. And she and another friend were watching while I was doing a fashion show of these old outfits. And one of the last times I reached out to Kitty, I asked her if she wanted this, ornate dress back that I'd used. She said, no, you just hang on to it. So anyway, but very kind, always very encouraging. And when I moved here from Los Angeles, she made me feel so welcome. So God bless you, Kitty. God bless you, Lauren. Love you both.
So yeah, my grandma, I guess the first thing that comes to mind when I think of her, she was like the funniest woman I knew, for sure. I could see kind of her humor kind of, I guess, blend into like how my brain works. I could always see like some of me in her, or if that makes any sense. I don't know. She always had a lot to say. Just like she remembered so much, and I was always really impressed. Like when I would meet my friends' grandparents, they didn't seem as they never seemed as mentally sound as my grandma did, even up until her final moments. She was always very like lucid and conscious, and just good memory, remembered everything. One of my fondest memories with her is 2 summers ago. I would go over to her house and do yard work with her. Well, not with her, but for her. And then I'd eat lunch with her, and then we'd talk for like a while, and she just had all these different stories about like opera, and pretty much like every topic, and just like, I don't know. She's done a lot, so pretty much all she did, she could talk about. So, I don't know, always very witty, and I don't know. I miss her a lot. I definitely took for granted those conversations. I always was, when she would talk to me like that and just tell me stories and stuff, I always thought I was like being there for her, but and now after the fact, I see myself missing those conversations, and I see how much I took for granted those. So yeah, I can't really say that much, but she was very smart. She always knew what to say. I really respected her wit, and I love her, and I miss her.
My name is Solveig Eggers, and I've known Kitty for many, many decades, I would say, and she was just so unique. She was just maybe the funniest person I've ever met. She loved priest stories. We'd be talking about something or other, like a movie or something, and then that reminds me of, oh boy, and we'd be off in this whale of a story. We went to the movies every now and then. I remember seeing Wonder Woman with her. She loved Wonder Woman, and I thought, well, I think it could have ended after an hour and a half, but then we would go to Samuel Beckett's for dinner, and I remember the waiter coming over and saying, "Would you like a salad with that?" And she'd say, "No, I'm just saving space for chocolate cake, Kitty was just remarkable. She always had something funny to say, and she was always on the bright side of things, even though I knew she was suffering towards the end. She had a lot of things going on, a lot of physical things, but she didn't go on and on about that. She did trick me into believing that she had a squad of people who would come over and pick her up off the floor when she fell down, and they would decide whether to send her to ER or not. And I said, "Kitty, this doesn't sound very good." So, and it wasn't very good, but it was just an example of her looking on the bright side, always kind of making it kind of a funny story. And even though she might end up in ER, and anyway, so I am so sorry that I didn't organize a trip to the movies just around Christmas time or November, we would have gone to see Barbie probably, or maybe Priscilla or something like that, and would have laughed a lot and enjoyed it, but and eaten a lot of chocolate cake. But I will miss her, and honestly, she just went way too soon. We knew she was sick for 3 or 4 years, but it just came as a shock when she went. So I'm going to follow the priest's suggestion and just pray for her that she will rest in peace and glory and salvation. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Mark Rhodes. I'm a former state senator from Illinois in the Chicago suburbs. First time I met Lauren Smith was at an American Political Science Association meeting in 1964, and we're the only two guys in the whole audience who had Goldwater buttons on. And then I met Kitty a couple of years later when she was at River Forest High School and Rosary College, and just got wonderfully impressed with her and her interests and her singing and her travels and her attention to history. She's just a wonderful person to know, and I'm so glad to be a part of this tribute to Kitty Smith. One time I had broken my foot, and I was living in Georgetown, and Kitty and Lauren would stop by my house with food and did everything they could to help me when I was laid up. So that was one of the wonderful things that impressed me about Kitty.
I've known Kitty since 2002. She has been warm and welcoming. I remember an evening when there was a snow and ice storm, and I came to Kitty and Lauren's home with some steaks, prime steaks from Costco. We ate the steaks, and when I was ready to go home, Lauren and Kitty said, "You're not going anywhere." So I looked outside and I saw that cars were going up the hill in front of their home and sliding backwards. So I stayed there for the night, and in the morning, Kitty made me blueberry pancakes. It doesn't get better than that. Only Kitty always made it better. She gave the best gifts. She was wonderful. In the later years, when she was not doing well, when I went to visit her in the various hospitals and nursing homes, I would always want to kiss her when I left. So I would kiss her on the head or her hand. I didn't want to hurt her. And she would say, "Thank you, Ruth," in the kindest way, just so gracious. So even in her pain, she was so appreciative and welcoming of me as a friend. That's almost it. I guess I had almost a religious experience when Kitty was dying. And I was in the hospital room with Kitty and her husband and son. And I wasn't even sure if she was still with us, but I broke into the holiest Jewish prayer, the Shema, because I thought Kitty would like it. We loved music. We shared so many concerts, and I sang it, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And basically, it just affirms the oneness and incomparability of God.
I've been Kitty's handyman of choice for, about 15 years now. Done a lot of cleanup projects in their house, a lot of things they didn't ask me to do, and they always trusted me to take care of business, whatever needed to be done, I went and did. Thank you. Oh. So, anyway, I've known Lauren and Kitty for about 15 years now. They got my name from Kitty's daughter-in-law, Holly, and they've become a lot like family for me now. So They were very supportive when I lost my son. We're both members of a club that nobody wants to join. And the trust Kitty had in me to do what a lot of other people probably wouldn't approach was, never went unnoticed, never went unappreciated. I'm not quite sure what else to add here. Lauren has become a very good friend as well, and the whole family is I've become very close to. And that's about all I have to say. Kitty, I'm going to miss you horribly. You've been a very important part of my professional life and personal life, and I'm signing off now. God bless Kitty.
Hi, I'm Heather West. I am friends with Holly and Lauren. And one Kitty memory that comes to mind right off the bat is when I was way back a single person, and Kitty was expressing her gratitude to me for introducing her son to my friend Holly. She thought she would try to matchmake me with someone. So Holly told me that Kitty would like us to show up at a restaurant in Arlington and after Mass, and we would all eat pizza together, and I could meet the man of my dreams there. So we went. I showed up. Holly showed up. Kitty showed up. But the guy didn't show up. So we just enjoyed a nice time together. And I'm grateful that she cared enough and thought enough about me to want me to be happy like her son's happy. And I do take credit for that. But it was also just Kitty's way to get into the action and spread her joy and mischief. And I thought it was a lot of fun. And I was grateful for her interest in me. So go Kitty.
I'm Bob Schadler. I met Kitty, I think, in the early 70s when I worked for the Intercollegiate Studies Institute, and met Lauren and Kitty, visited them when they were in Delaware, and then saw them frequently when we were in Washington, D.C. together. One thing that maybe others haven't fully recognized was her remarkable intelligence. I think she was a member of Mensa, the top 2%, but in any case, she was highly intelligent, remembered all kinds of literary figures and novels. And the thing perhaps most recognized by everybody was her exuberance, happiness, joy, that regardless of how difficult her own circumstances were, popped up with, if not a roaring laughter, at least a smile and some kind of pun or quip or thing that aroused joy and humor and laughter. Overall, just a remarkable woman, and it's hard recognizing we won't have her anymore, but she brought joy to lots of people interested in travel, told us about monasteries in Italy that she visited or that we should visit, and it was great to have her as a friend. My wife knew her far better, and in the hospital, when her intelligence resulted in her being bored, she would call on almost a daily basis to talk to my wife to relieve her boredom, and always find something amusing to talk about. So her memory will last forever with us, and God bless her.
Hello, my name is Alan. I have many fond memories of Kitty. When my son Peter was having an engagement party, at the Lyceum in Alexandria, Kitty sang and made the event a great hit that I think it otherwise might not have been. But Kitty and I have known one another for many years. I had the pleasure to sit next to her at a luncheon just not many months ago. It was always a great pleasure to see her, and she really lit up a room when she entered it. I have many, many fond memories of Kitty.
One of my favorite memories of Kitty is when she came to the groundbreaking at our new headquarters at ISI. And it was a large affair, and most of it was going to be outside because it was large. But we had some nice things going on inside, including a harpist in the living room. And Kitty came up to me and she said, "Ken, tell me the truth." She says, "Is there always a harpist in your living room, or is it just for this occasion?" And the reason I love that story, it was so emblematic of her. She knew it was improbable that the harpist was always playing, but she was absolutely ready to hope for it. She was a lady full of hope and possibility.
We're Kitty Smith's co-grandparents. Their daughter-in-law, Holly, is our daughter. And so we have known Kitty since Lauren and Holly got engaged over 20 years ago. And we love Kitty very much. Love Lauren and Kitty. They're really special people in our lives, and we were just blessed to be co-parents and co-grandparents with them. It's just been a special time for us. Kitty, we love being with Kitty. She's a very special person, and she will be missed greatly.
And we got to see Kitty the day after Christmas this year, and she was still in a rehab center, and we felt bad that she couldn't come to Christmas, and she was disappointed that she couldn't get some deviled eggs. So I made her some deviled eggs, and I took her the deviled eggs, and she was so happy. She ate 3 halves out of the 4, and so it was a wonderful gift for us to be able to see her enjoy those deviled eggs, because she only started liking them a couple of years ago after her first try. And then every time we had a family get-together, it was this Susie making those deviled eggs. And so it was a real blessing. So every time I make deviled eggs from now on, I will be thinking of Kitty. And she always tried to talk to us about the beautiful music that she loved and the things she would sing. Well, we're from the West Coast. We sing the Beach Boys and the Beatles, and she was singing the great opera stars. So she kind of thought we were kind of West Coasters, but it's okay. We love Kitty, and we loved her love for music. It was a real joy in her life, which made it a joy for us. So.
One of the things that I'll always remember about Kitty is her love for her grandchildren.
Yep.
She loved to sit in a chair and read to them. And so that will always be a special memory for us.
She was a wonderful grandma, yeah. And she loved to buy them gifts, which was really fun. So the kids have a lot of little things that Kitty would buy for them. And that'll give them great memories. So we're happy for that. And Lauren Sr. is just like a brother to Larry. And so she was just a wonderful grandma, and wonderful co-grandma. So we loved being in the family with them. So, and that's about it.
Thank you.
I'm Morton Blackwell, and I've known Lauren since the 1960s, and I trained him and sent him off to be a youth organizer in 1970 in a U.S. Senate race, which was very close and hard to win in Vermont, and his candidate won. So I guess I have to say I knew Lauren before Kitty did. But we've had lives that have been close together. I knew them from the marriage on. Lauren and Kitty moved to a street that's about a block or so from our house, lived there for a while, and were our neighbors, moved away, and then moved back to another house on the same street. So we're still neighbors, and I've known them and they are not what you would call, they weren't a typical couple. There was about Kitty a certain inherent dignity that was different from Lauren's dignity, to say the least. And it was a surprising couple, but they worked extraordinarily well, and we were political allies on many things, and close friends. When we decided to have our house in Arlington improved and have our hardwood floors sanded and re-varnished, they told us that we had to exit our house for 24 hours, meaning we had to stay somewhere. So my wife and our 2 kids spent a night sleeping on sleeping bags in Lauren's and Kitty's house. So they were wonderful neighbors, wonderful people. It's been a pleasure to know Kitty, and she deserves a lot of credit for putting up with Lauren all these years.
This is Greg and Linda Benda. We met Kitty and Lauren back at the Dolly Madison when Lauren Jr. and Holly were preparing to get married. And again, we spent a lot of time with Kitty back when they got married in Seattle. So we've known Kitty and Lauren now for nearly, 40 years?
No, 20.
20. 40,
Holly's not out
40 between us, okay. All right. But anyway, Holly, she's our godchild,
per se,
surrogate, per se. So she's been a part of our life for a very long time.
And I just want to say, Lauren, when we met you, we had a 12-year-old, one of our 5 children, who you impressed so much that he designed his life after you, Lauren, and he was so impressed by your love for life and Kitty. We just can't thank you enough for adopting us into your family, being a military family of 44 years.
Especially the magic you taught him. He became quite the musician and has not lost those skills. And he so much told us to let you know his condolences for Kitty. He wanted to be here, but he's at least 3 feet under snow in Grand Rapids right now, so he wasn't able to get here.
But we want to give you, Lauren, a deep, sincere invitation to our home. Anytime you need a big hug, we're here for you. We love you, and we're praying for you.
I got a great smoking deck for cigars down at the lake. You just got to get there.
Not to mention the tiki bar on the lake.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of bourbon.
Love you, Lauren.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Maria Smith. I'm Grandma Kitty's eldest grandchild. I've been having a really hard time with this. I was very close with my grandmother. I used to visit her every single Sunday, and I would sit there and she would tell me stories about her childhood, and I would sit there and write them all because she was such a phenomenal storyteller, and I didn't want to forget these great stories. And so my favorite story that she told me was actually about her father and how he had fought in World War II. Another story she had told me was about how she and Ellen used to model when they were young girls and teenagers. But she was just a very enthusiastic woman, and I feel like I learned a lot from her, and a lot of the person I am today is because of her. And I was with her all the time. Ever since I was a child, we would visit with them every Sunday, and when she wasn't able to make the visit to us or wasn't able to come out of the rehab center or the hospital, I would go to her and visit with her. So I'm really going to miss her, but I'm praying for her soul, and I love her so much.
All I can say is I'm supposed to be singing about Lauren and Kitty. I think that gal was mighty pretty. One thing about my old pal Lauren, sometimes it gets really boring, but I don't mind. I'm never going to leave my friends behind because they're too good for me to miss. I just want to blow Kitty a little kiss in heaven. God bless you all.